Have you ever met someone whose life just looks flawlessly curated from the outside?
Oh, yeah, like they stepped right out of a filtered social media post.
Exactly. I mean, I'm talking about the person who says all the right things, they wear the right clothes, their aesthetic is immaculate, they just radiate this aura of, absolute success.
Right. Unimpeachable success.
Yeah, but then you spend a little actual time with them, you sit in silence in the same room for maybe 5 minutes, and you get this sudden, incredibly uneasy feeling.
It's that hollow sensation, isn't it?
Yes, right in the pit of your stomach.
Yeah.
It just tells you that beneath all that blinding polish, there is a total vacuum.
Well, what you're describing, we are actually experiencing cognitive dissonance in those moments.
Oh, really? How so?
Yeah. So you are taking in one set of data with your eyes like the perfect aesthetic, but your intuition is picking up on these micro cues.
Ah, like subconsciously.
Exactly. Your brain is signaling that the structural integrity of what you're looking at is entirely compromised. We are, highly perceptive evolutionary creatures.
That makes total sense. We can just feel it.
Right. We can almost always sense when an aesthetic is being weaponized to mask a void, even if we can't immediately articulate what's wrong.
Man, that tension, that exact psychological clash between the shiny exterior and the hollow interior is basically the engine of our deep dive today. Okay, let's unpack this.
I'm really looking forward to this one.
Me too. We are taking a profound journey into the writings of Guru Nanak Dev Ji, a deeply revered spiritual teacher and the founder of the Sikh faith.
And we should note, we're intentionally skipping the academic jargon today.
Oh, absolutely. We aren't doing a dry, historical verse-by-verse breakdown. Instead, we're going to decode a series of striking, centuries-old metaphors from his writings.
Metaphors that really expose the exhausting reality of our outward displays versus our inner purity.
Yeah, and treating this text as a mirror for our own psychological authenticity is, I think, the best way to approach the material.
I completely agree. While the source text is undeniably rooted in deep spiritual truth, its commentary on human nature is fiercely relevant to us right now.
Because he was observing a society fixated on rituals, right?
Yes, rituals, status, the mere appearance of holiness. And he just systematically dismantled those facades. Setting the strict historical context aside, this is basically a masterclass in the absolute exhaustion of pretending to be something you are not.
So getting right into it, the text starts out of the gate focusing on inanimate objects that trick the eye, specifically bronze.
Bronze is a fascinating choice here.
It is, because bronze is inherently bright. It's shiny. I mean, it looks almost indistinguishable from gold if you polish it aggressively enough.
But the text points out a fatal flaw, doesn't it?
Yeah, the moment you rub that shiny bronze, a dark soot, like a blackness, rubs off on your hands. And the kicker is, washing that bronze 100 times changes absolutely nothing.
Right, because you cannot wash away that fundamental impurity.
Exactly. It's built into the molecular structure of the metal itself. So what does this all mean for us?
Well, think about the immense physical effort involved in that specific imagery. You are washing and scrubbing, expending vital energy, trying to force this object into a state of pure, unblemished perfection.
Which is just exhausting to even think about.
It really is. But the impurity isn't dirt that fell onto the bronze from the outside environment. It is inherent to the alloy.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, the harder you rub, the more you disturb the surface and the more of that dark soot you actually reveal.
Wow. And then the text immediately scales up this concept, right? From a piece of metal to grand, towering buildings.
The painted mansions.
Yes, these massive mansions that are beautifully, painstakingly painted on every single side. They look like absolute fortresses of wealth and stability.
But inside they are utterly empty.
Utterly empty. Because they're just hollow shells, they ultimately crumble into useless ruins. Reading this, I kept thinking about, restoring a vintage car.
Oh, that's a great analogy.
Like, you spend all this money on a shiny paint job, but you completely ignore the rusted out brake lines.
Right, you look phenomenal sitting in the driveway.
Exactly. But the moment you hit a downhill slope, which is, a real life crisis, you realize you have absolutely no mechanisms to stop yourself from crashing. The failure isn't aesthetic, it's structural.
What's fascinating here is that Guru Nanak Dev Ji is dissecting human character through these objects.
Character, not just vanity.
Right. The bronze and the empty mansions represent the immense, ultimately futile energy we burn trying to scrub our outward reputations clean.
While totally ignoring the inside.
Exactly. People curate their public image, painting the walls of their personalities so that everyone who walks by assumes they are a sturdy, load-bearing mansion.
They just want people to be impressed.
Yeah, they rely on narcissistic supply, the admiration of others, to feel stable, but they ignore the internal architecture of their own character.
And when the storms of life actually hit,
A painted facade offers zero shelter. It just collapses under its own weight.
man, we see the ruins of those mansions all the time in our culture.
We really do.
It's like the executive who has mastered corporate speak and has the spotless resume, but the moment there's a real ethical crisis, they completely lack the moral fortitude to navigate it.
The public breakdown is just the mansion finally crumbling.
Yeah, because you cannot reverse engineer a soul. You can't just construct a beautiful, impenetrable exterior and hope it somehow miraculously generates a solid interior over time.
That's spot on. The emptiness within the mansion is the exact same mechanism as the black soot of the bronze.
It's just the unavoidable physical truth of what the object actually is.
Right, regardless of the PR campaign surrounding it.
Okay, so the text escalates the stakes here, moving from passive, inanimate objects to living things.
This is a really crucial transition in the text.
It is, because this is where we see how this hypocrisy evolves from being just a personal, harmless vanity into something that actively damages the ecosystem around it.
We cross the line from passive illusion into active, predatory deception.
Yeah. The text uses the image of a heron, a bird with pristine, pure white feathers. And it points out that these herons dwell at sacred shrines and places of pilgrimage.
So they look completely angelic.
Exactly. Picture this beautiful white bird standing serenely in a holy river. It looks like the ultimate symbol of spiritual purity.
But it isn't standing there to meditate.
No. It is standing perfectly still so it can ruthlessly snatch, tear apart, and devour living creatures. So the text argues that because of this violence, the whiteness of the heron is a complete lie.
And paired with the heron is the metaphor of the simul tree.
Oh, right, the tree. Tell us about that.
So this is a massive, incredibly lush tree. It stands tall and naturally attracts parrots who fly great distances looking for nourishment.
Because it looks like it would have amazing fruit.
Exactly. But the fruits of the simul tree are entirely useless. They are hard, bitter, and completely unpalatable. The birds are tricked into wasting their caloric energy flying to a food source that just doesn't exist.
That is so tragic for the birds.
It is. And the text makes a stunningly vulnerable admission here, where the speaker equates this uselessness to their own body.
Wait, like a confession?
Yes, essentially saying, my body is like this tree. People look at me and are fooled, but I have nothing of real nourishing value to offer them.
Wow. Here's where it gets really interesting to me and where I want to push back on this standard just a little bit because it feels intensely demanding.
Okay, let's hear it.
I mean, isn't it just baseline human nature to want to put our best foot forward?
Sure, to an extent.
Like, we all wear a tailored suit to a job interview to look capable, even if we're terrified and would rather be in sweatpants. We smile at the barista, even if we are having a miserable morning.
Right, social norms.
Exactly. So why is simply looking the part, or wearing those white feathers, judged so harshly here, is wanting to present a polished version of yourself really a spiritual crime?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, we have to look at the intention and the specific mechanics of the harm being done.
Okay, so it's about the harm.
Right. There is a vast psychological difference between presenting well out of social grace and engaging in active deceit. The text isn't critiquing the person wearing a suit to an interview to show respect.
So it's not about the suit.
No, it is critiquing the heron. The heron uses the specific camouflage of a sacred shrine, the aesthetic of holiness, to lower the defenses of its prey.
Oh, wow.
It's a devastating critique of spiritual bypassing and moral hypocrisy. People will use the aesthetic of absolute goodness to manipulate the trusting.
It's the weaponization of trust. The suit at the interview is an agreed-upon social contract, but the heron at the holy shrine is a predator using a sanctuary as a hunting blind.
Exactly. The parrots fly to the simul tree because its grand appearance promises sustenance. They rely on it, and it starves them.
And the fish swim near the heron because it looks peaceful and it devours them.
When someone uses the language of morality, the posture of enlightenment, or the aesthetics of trustworthiness to manipulate others, their whiteness becomes a weapon.
Which is just terrifying.
It is. This kind of hypocrisy doesn't just erode the soul of the hypocrite. It creates tangible victims. It destroys the social fabric.
But maintaining that heron persona, like constantly keeping those white feathers spotless while hiding a predatory nature or perpetually repainting that crumbling mansion, it requires an astronomical amount of psychological energy.
Oh, it's exhausting. You can never, ever let your guard down.
Let's talk about what that constant, terrified vigilance does to a person's psyche. Because the text captures this agony with what I think is the most heartbreaking image in this entire deep dive.
The blind man on the mountain.
Yes, the text describes a blind man carrying a massive, impossibly heavy load over a steep, treacherous mountain pass.
It's a very visceral image.
It really is. But there is a painful paradox explicitly stated. The text reads, "My eyes can see, but I cannot find the way."
That's the crux of it right there.
Yeah, the physical, biological eyes work perfectly fine, but a profound internal blindness prevents the traveler from actually crossing the mountain.
And all our worldly tools are useless here.
Unbelievably useless. The text states unequivocally that serving powerful people, putting on a show of goodness, leveraging our cleverness, they do nothing for this specific climb.
It is the ultimate image of existential paralysis.
Imagine carrying a backpack full of jagged boulders up a sheer cliff face, completely blindfolded. You have no idea where your next foot is going to land.
And those boulders are your ego.
Exactly. They are the facades you've built. They are all your carefully curated networking connections and your polished reputation. You would just be crushed under the weight of your own illusions.
And you mentioned the blindfold. If their physical eyes work, what exactly is blinding them?
That's what I want to know.
This raises an important question. The cleverness itself is the blindfold.
Wait, really? The cleverness?
Yes. The mountain represents the grueling, inevitable reality of the human condition. It is aging, the sudden loss of a loved one, the search for meaning, the terrifying reality of our own mortality.
All the heavy stuff.
Right. And the heavy load is the accumulated weight of the soot of the bronze, the paint of the mansion, the white feathers of the heron. It is the ego.
So our modern cleverness just adds to the load.
Exactly. We have more information than any generation in history. We are incredibly clever. We know how to play the social games, how to accumulate wealth, how to read the algorithms.
So our physical eyes see the mechanics of the material world perfectly.
But none of that helps you navigate a sheer cliff face.
Oh, man. When you are faced with a crisis of meaning or deep grief or the end of your life, all that worldly cleverness instantly loses its currency.
You cannot network your way out of existential dread.
No, you definitely cannot bribe gravity. You can't use your flawless reputation to bypass the terrifying reality of your own soul.
The blindfolded man is paralyzed because he realizes, suddenly and violently, that his entire toolkit is useless on this terrain.
Because his material vision is perfect, but his spiritual vision is non-existent. That is deeply chilling. But, it also validates that baseline exhaustion so many of us feel. We all feel the weight of those boulders pulling us backward on the cliff face.
It's a universal struggle.
So if cleverness, worldly goodness, and polished exteriors fail us on the mountain, how do we physically drop the load?
Well, the text doesn't just leave us stranded on the cliff.
Right. It offers an antidote, a way out of the bondage, and it starts by radically redefining what it means to not be alone on the mountain. It talks about true friends.
The necessity of genuine, unvarnished companionship.
Yeah, the text says that true friends are the ones who travel alongside you, but it adds this incredibly specific condition. It says they stand by you where the accounts are called for.
That's a very loaded phrase.
It is. When I hear accounts being called for, I instantly think of a terrifying IRS audit of my soul.
Right, a cosmic ledger.
Exactly. A moment where every moral failing is tallied up by some cosmic accountant. Is that the right way to look at this, or am I projecting modern anxiety onto an ancient spiritual text? What does this actually mean?
The IRS audit is a very natural, modern projection, but it misses the deeper spiritual grace of the metaphor.
Okay, break that down for me.
The moment the accounts are called for isn't about punishment or a literal ledger. It is the moment of absolute, unvarnished truth.
Like when you can't hide anymore.
Right. It is the 3.0 a.m. realization. It is the exact moment when the paint has completely peeled off your mansion, when the bronze can no longer be polished, and you are standing face to face with the reality of who you truly are.
The moment the facade officially breaks.
The ultimate vulnerability. And in that specific moment, the friends who loved the paint job on your mansion are gone.
Because they only like the shiny exterior.
Exactly. The people who were impressed by your cleverness, your status, or your white feathers vanish because those things have lost their value.
So what does a true friend do then?
A true friend, in this spiritual context, is a companion in spirit who always valued your inner reality. They were never fair-weather fans of your ego. They are witnesses to your soul.
Oh, that's beautiful.
They stand by you when the absolute truth is laid bare because they were never fooled by the illusion in the first place. Their steady presence validates your authentic self, which gives you the courage to finally stop pretending.
True companionship is one half of the antidote. But the ultimate conclusion, the final release mechanism mentioned in the text, is the contemplation of the name.
Yes, the name.
The text states that it is only by contemplating the name that one is finally released from this heavy bondage.
Name is a concept that really requires careful definition.
Please, because I want to make sure we get this right without getting bogged down in dogma.
Of course. It is frequently translated simply as the divine name, but it encompasses the divine presence, the ultimate underlying truth of the universe.
So it's bigger than just a word.
Much bigger.
Yeah.
It is the eternal spiritual reality that exists beneath all the physical illusions, the mansions, and the cleverness we've been dissecting.
Okay, but how do I actually apply that? Like, how does turning my attention to the infinite help when I'm stressed about a failing marriage or drowning in debt or just terrified of the mountain?
That's the practical question, right?
Yeah. What is the actual practical mechanism of contemplating the name that allows the blind man to drop the heavy load?
Look at the composition of the heavy load the blind man is carrying. Every single boulder in that backpack, vanity, hypocrisy, status, cleverness, the anxiety of reputation, is entirely self-centered.
It's all about me.
Exactly. It is exclusively focused on me. How do I look?
Yeah.
How do people perceive me? What can I consume, like the heron?
And that's why it's so heavy.
Yes. The ego is incredibly heavy because it requires constant, hypervigilant maintenance to sustain the illusion that you are the center of the universe.
It takes all your calories just to keep the boulders balanced.
Right. So contemplating the name forces a radical perspective shift. It is the spiritual equivalent of the overview effect that astronauts experience when they see the Earth from space.
Oh, wow. That's a great way to put it.
When you contemplate the infinite divine presence, you are actively turning your attention away from the self. You recognize your connection to a reality that is infinitely larger, older, and more profound than your personal reputation.
You stop obsessing over the paint job because you realize you're just one tiny house in an infinite universe.
Precisely. The moment you truly grasp that, the moment you align yourself with that eternal truth, rather than your temporary social status, the ego loses its grip.
So you don't even have to fight the boulders.
No, the mechanism of release isn't that the boulders magically get lighter. The release is the realization that you never actually had to carry them at all.
You simply unbuckle the backpack and let it fall.
That is the release from bondage. The physical eyes might still see the steep, terrifying mountain of life, but the spiritual blindness is cured. You can finally see the way forward because you aren't staring at your own feet anymore.
You just unbuckle the backpack. It sounds so mechanically simple, but it is obviously the grueling work of a lifetime.
Oh, absolutely.
Let's take a breath and recap this incredible journey through Guru Nanak Dev Ji's writings today. We started by looking at the shiny bronze that always leaves a dark stain due to its own inherent alloy.
And those beautifully painted mansions that are completely hollow inside and structurally destined to crumble.
Yeah, and we recognize the ecosystem damage caused by the heron, hiding its predatory nature under pure white feathers at the sacred shrines.
And the simul tree, offering grand illusions but starving the parrots that rely on it.
All of those illusions build the heavy, agonizing load of the ego, the load that leaves us blind and burdened, struggling up the steep mountain of life.
Realizing that all our networking, our wealth, and our cleverness cannot save us from the reality of a human condition.
Right, and we learned that the mechanism to drop that crushing weight is twofold: seeking out true companions who love us for our unpainted truth when the accounts are called for, and connecting with the divine presence, the name.
Shifting our focus completely away from the exhausting demands of our own ego.
It is a profound call for radical internal transformation. It asks us to stop scrubbing the bronze and start examining the actual metallurgy of our character.
That is beautifully said.
Thank you. And that brings us right back to you listening to this right now. Think about your own daily climb up the mountain.
We are all navigating that treacherous terrain.
We are. But take a hard look at the boulders in your backpack. Are the burdens you're carrying today truly yours? Or are they just the agonizing weight of other people's expectations?
Are you burning all your calories trying to maintain a facade that is fundamentally hollow?
It is a question that requires deep, often uncomfortable psychological honesty.
It really does.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought to mull over as you navigate the rest of your day. Think about the one specific area of your life where you are trying the hardest to look shiny right now.
The place where you are pouring all your energy into the paint job while ignoring the rusted brake lines.
Exactly. What would happen if you just stopped washing the bronze? What would happen if you put down the heavy load of maintaining that illusion and just allowed yourself to be seen exactly as you are?
The structural integrity of your true self might just surprise you.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We'll be waiting for you right here next time, ready to unpack something new. Stay curious and remember to unbuckle the backpack.